The First World War. The Industrial Revolution had started in England in the final years of the 18th century. France joined in at the beginning of the 19th century, and Germany since 1870. The steep increase in production led these countries to search for new foreign markets, the African continent being the axle of this economic drive. Nationalism, imperialism, and militarism induced a situation leading in 15 years to many colonial struggles between the three great European powers. They were at the brink of war more than once. Some leaders sought for peace in international congresses, like Tsar Nikolai II of Russia, when in 1899 he attended 26 government's delegates in the city of The Hague, Netherlands, with the aim of finding some recipe to abate tension and armaments. The Congress was a failure, but at least an international arbitration court was instituted, and it still meets today. In 1914, the net of hostile alliances and national rivalries plunged Europe into disaster in a catastrophic war that raved over the 5 continents and put an end to a period called the Armed Peace. They fought all over the world on land, on the sea, and in the air, and the result was the annihilation of 4 empires and the death of more than 15 million people. Moreover, a new world order emerged for so many other human beings. Once the cultural focus of the world, Europe was now so deeply broken by political resentment and racial hatred that a Second World War was clearly seen in the horizon as something unavoidable. Year 1914. The origin of the war. Many things seemed to unify Europe in the hot summer of 1914. Social and cultural structures were similar, and the royal houses were related by blood or marriage. The German Kaiser Wilhelm II was the nephew of King Edward VII of Great Britain and cousin to Russia's Tsar Nikolai. These aristocrats held honorific charges in their armies, a fact that stirred their militarist spirits. On the other hand, in the Balkanic Wars of 1912 and 1913, Serbia had gained territories over Turkey, and therefore their urge for mastering the Slavic lands under Austro-Hungarian rule north of the Adriatic was kindled. This affair biased the Austro-Hungarian Empire, the weakest central power, against the Serbians. At the same time, the losers in these wars, the Ottoman Empire and Bulgaria, nurtured their desire for vengeance. In Germany, the enthronement of the new emperor, Wilhelm II, had led to the fall of Chancellor Bismarck and a steep turn in the government's foreign policy. In addition to that, the fact that a united Germany had quickly risen in the world order among the industrialized nations was a great source of worry for some powers. In that, France appeared particularly relentless. There was still a deep resentment against Germany for the humiliating defeat against Prussia in 1870 and the consequent loss of land in Alsace and Lorraine. The great France's ally, Russia, felt also threatened by the rising of Germany, thinking it dangerous for its lead in Central and Eastern Europe. As it is, Great Britain stayed away from its neighbors' quarrels. It was considered the greatest colonial power and felt safe under the eminence of the Empire and the Commonwealth. Nevertheless, they watched closely the growing German militarism and felt sore about its ally, the Ottoman Empire, losing its European territories in the Balkanic War. Besides, Wilhelm II insisted in seizing a seat of great influence among the most important nations of the world and would not hesitate to use the military force to make his efforts bear. Most parts of Germany are away from the sea, and the Kaiser was deeply jealous of the British Royal Navy. He decided to create a fleet that could be a match for it. For this program, he found an enthusiastic follower in Admiral von Tirpitz, who spared no effort to make the Kaiser's wishes true once they decided to dramatically increase the budget assigned to the military. This fact made the British apprehensive enough to introduce in 1905 the battleship HMS Dreadnought, built and launched in 4 months. This new kind of man of war meant a giant step for the Royal Navy and granted a large superiority over its rivals. Its £3 million cost had put His Majesty's government at pains. This presentation was an enticement for the armaments race, for all the navies in the world understood that battleships to be the future of sea power. It was clear enough that the British had the will to sustain their supremacy at sea, while the Germans spared no efforts to get even.